Tyla, let's shoulders. Tyla to the left. Tyla to the left.
Good evening, gentlemen, and a few of you ladies that may be listening. This is Spiritual Art of War, back at it again with another episode. And this time we're going to talk about Tyla, okay? The singer out of South Africa. And I noticed she ruffled a lot of feathers last year when she went into the question that was given to her by none other than Charlemagne, the devil, not the God, when he asked her about her ethnic background. And of course, you know, being over here in America, it should be known that so-called black people have a very, very weird relationship with racial identity. Because depending on how people feel, they want to claim or reject depending on who they're with, especially when it comes to the woman. For example, for black women, Kamala Harris is black. She's a sister girl. Okay? For the likes of Meghan Markle, she's a sister girl. Okay, because she's married to Prince Harry. And they'll claim different people for the sake of what they feel is bolstering their image as black women. But when those same women are with a particular entertainer or athlete that's black, especially if he's medium or to dark skin black, because a lot of times they don't mind the double light skin. Okay. Shout out to Boris Cujo and Nicole R.E. Parker. Okay. Shout out to Stephen Curry and Aisha Curry. Yeah. They don't care much about that. Heck, shout out even to Chris Brown and Karuchi. In fact, it's like a running joke where the women really don't even hold it against Chris Brown for dealing with, you know, mixed race or light-skinned woman. You remember he was in a relationship with Rihanna. Wasn't no big deal. But we know it's a big deal when it's the other way around, in regards to if a dark-skinned black man is with a light-skinned or mixed woman, especially if he does dates two or more, especially consecutively, then it's a problem. Now, let's be real. Y'all saw the video. Y'all saw the video. Again, y'all saw the video. Yes, Tyla. That's why they don't like Tyla. Because Tyla is unlike women in America. Okay? That's a threat right there. I'm telling you right now, they did a threat assessment on Tyla. And they don't want more Tylas, man. They don't want another pretty girl from Joburg. When they see her now, that is what they prefer. Yeah. That right there. And I was saying it years back. I've told a few men, some of my closest friends, and other people when we're talking about just generally around the world, different places, cultures, and things like that. Of course, what would come up is women. And I said that South African woman, I said this like 5, 6, maybe even longer than that. I said this a few times for those that remember the conversation. I said South African women are different. And how I know this is that I had an uncle who was working for a corporation, a company. And when the World Cup was in South Africa, the company sent him there because, you know, they have a lot of World Cup sponsors. And one of the companies that was a World Cup sponsor was a company he worked for. And they had to go down to South Africa. He went down to South Africa for the World Cup for this, for his company, and he never came back. And mind you, his wife, well, They separated at the time, but I think he pretty much moved on to finalize it. She was bad, bad, bad. Like bad, bro. You hear me? Like his wife was bad. I mean, I even she's got to be like, man, by now, because she had to be in her mid-20s, in the early 90s. So she got to be like in her mid to late 50s when I last saw her. And they had a daughter. That's it, before they got divorced. And I saw her. She was like in the mid to late 50s at my old man's weight keeping. And she looked like she was no older than 35. And she's like in her mid 50s. And let me tell you this. They were both heavy into fitness going way back, like back in the 90s. He was like a pro-am bodybuilder. And she was also heavily into fitness. She made her own food. She would make shakes. We're talking about back in the 90s. She worked out all the time. She always took very great care of herself. And that's the reason why she still looked phenomenal, at probably mid 50s, looking like she's 35, like no lie. Skin glowing, hair, all that stuff, in great shape, dressed, real nice and everything like that. And he, instead of reconciling or trying to make it work with his wife, he decided to stay in South Africa. And when I was told that, hey, your uncle Rex is not coming back to the U.S., I said, why? I said he went to South Africa for that company and he decided not to come back. And then I was like, huh? And then I remember having a conversation with somebody about South Africa, and they were like, whoa, South Africa, I heard they got the baddies. I was like, what? So I had to pause, like, I need to look this up. So, this is a time when, by this time, I believe YouTube was already around. So I go on YouTube and I, look up South African woman. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Remember when Martin would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I was like that. Okay. So I'm prefacing Tyla and her presence in the music scene, that her showing up was a threat. Trust me. They saw what she looked like. They saw how she moved, how she danced. They saw that charisma. They saw that smile. They saw that softness. Let me tell you, Tyla has a natural softness that can only be curated by growing up in an environment that molds that type of energy. And especially in the what they call the melanated form. Okay, that's the reason why they didn't like the fact that she didn't outright claim blackness outright, because they couldn't use her as like a mascot for black women like they've done with with other women in time past. Okay, so it's not that, see, they don't understand the complexity with identity in not only in South Africa but in Africa or in the Caribbean or outside the West. It's not that she wouldn't view herself as a black woman. She's very much aware, okay? Because they're very much aware of how things are perceived in the US. You don't think when people like her in that colored community, and that's a very diverse community. It's not like a one size fits all. Okay, you can be colored and look like LeBron James. It just comes down to your heritage and background and your parents. And then also the neighborhood you grew up in too, because they had designated areas during apartheid. Okay. And then you can be as light as literally like, Cameron Diaz and be considered colored. It just all depends. That's why they had different types of coloreds. Okay. It was not, I think it was like 5 or 7 categories of coloreds. So it was not like a one size fits all. But yeah, it doesn't mean that she wouldn't view herself as a quote unquote black woman or even an African woman, which we know she does. But as far as black, she knows there's context to that because of the fact that in South Africa, there's another group of people that were designated black, and under apartheid, they were treated as what black was legally allowed to be treated like. So for her to call herself a black woman in South Africa takes away from their unique circumstances and experiences under apartheid. But see, again, Americans, especially so-called Black Americans, don't like to learn about other groups of people. They think the world revolves around America. And even when they are actually, someone tries to educate them, they reject it and they become willfully ignorant. So they don't even care to even learn. Okay. And maybe this is the state of the school system or the state of America. It's what it's called American exceptionalism, which is basically a higher form of arrogance and egotisticalism, just the not caring and wanting to impose your will upon other people and set the standard according to what you believe on other people. But when you examine the reason why they wanted to do that with her is because they wanted to live vicariously through her, and they wanted to basically use her as a mascot of quote unquote Black beauty, okay? And Black acceptance on a bigger scale. Because a lot of Black women, and you got these simps out here, the ones that supported that stuff, they were using that in the angle of what they wanted it to be. And I'm going to kind of go deeper into this subject, but I had to kind of preface Tyla and her presence in the music industry. And all the negative attacks that occurred over the last year to Tyla and her EP not doing as well, it doesn't hurt the fact that she's a much bigger star than on a global scale than a lot of the other women that they've tried to promote that women don't promote. You don't promote Ari Lennox. You're not really pushing Mooney Long the way you should. You're not really pushing Coco Jones the way you should. You're not pushing Normani. You're not pushing Seven Streeter. K. Michelle ran over and started doing country. What's Keisha Cole doing but running behind a 25-year-old Atlanta rapper and Huncho? Where are the women that y'all are promoting that could surpass Tyla except for a quote-unquote legacy act at this point in Beyonce? Rihanna ain't dropping no more music, at least anytime soon. So what are we talking about? You're not supporting Carrie Hilson. You're not supporting Kelly Rowland. Like, I can go down the list. So attacking Tyla is not going to work. And let me tell you why it's not going to work. Because Tyla has confidence and she believes in herself, despite the haters. What people don't understand in America is that Tyla doesn't got to be big in the USA. I don't understand. America doesn't understand. You're only like 5% of the global population. I think 4% of the global population. Like something very small. Like 4% of the and really dropping, really getting closer to 3% of the global population. Because you're basically fertility wise, you're like below replacement fertility rise. And you really need immigrants to keep your numbers going up, or you're going to end up like freaking Greece and Italy when it comes to replacement rate. Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's some communities that are in the minority that may be slightly above replacement rate, but they don't push the population higher in their aggregate. So the world influence is tipping towards what is known as the global south. It's tipping away towards the east and the south. Okay, because that's where the population number and influence is. And because they have these other platforms as well, they got the streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, and other ones that are even in these foreign countries that we don't even know about in the US. Okay, they're getting paid that money. And on top of that, these other acts, especially these international acts, they do concerts around the world in big stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't even understand that when you think that an artist that is coming from overseas is not big, you're celebrating it, but you don't know what you're celebrating. And that's why when you look at Tyla, I even seen another interview. I'm not gonna the video that I put up there would not be copyrighted because I can tell by the nature of the video. But there was another one that I could have put up as well, which is an interview that she had And the woman was confident, bro. Like confident. Listen, if Tyla was an American artist with the way she was talked down upon by her haters, which who are really just envious women and their simp men that follow behind them, and then people that are scared of another group of quote unquote black or black adjacent people reaching a level of, attention that will go away from them. This is what a lot of this whole some of these xenophobic based movements are about. It's a whole nother subject, but I'll get there. You dig? So when it comes to Tyla, the confidence is there. The style is there. Me, I like my woman more conservative. Okay? But when you're talking about entertainment, we know what it is. They gotta show they gotta show what they working with. And also the beauty. The beauty is exceptional. The beauty is exceptional, bruh. Like, what is this? With a South African accent. Yeah, the beauty is exceptional. That woman's one of one. She come through here, I'm telling you, I guarantee when she popped up at that VMAs, dudes is like, yo, yo, yo. She don't even mess with these dudes over here because she know they want them back. She's even talked about how she knew that certain guys was going to try and get at her in the industry. Okay? She even knew that Drake was going to hit her up once she started getting a name. And as soon as she kind of got a buzz, Drake was in them DMs. She curving these dudes over here. She curving athletes. She curving influencers. You saw how she curved Kai Cenat. Put that boy in the friend zone box expeditiously. No clout chasing needed from a relationship. She just doing here for business. Okay? Because when she pop up with the dude she eventually pop up with, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be somebody that's gonna have to really, you know what I'm saying? She gonna put that South African game on him, bruh. To where the dude gonna have to like lock in all the way. Okay? And I'm telling you. So she won, by the way. What did she win? She won best Afrobeat song for the VMA with Push to Start. Now, it wasn't the remix version. Okay, the remix version is the same. She won it for Push to Start. The remix with Sean Paul, it goes. Now, there's a lot of complaints from people, and this is how it is. See, when you're dealing, hey, listen, a lot of you Afrobeat fans, especially those of y'all that are in Africa, and you see that Tyla won Best Afrobeat song on the VMAs. What you got to understand is that white people don't give a damn, just like black people don't give a damn. They're going to categorize your music however they see fit. It's coming from Africa, it's Afrobeats. They don't give a damn. You don't deal with technicalities with Americans. Americans are very arrogant. Americans are going to tell you how they feel it should be categorized, and they're going to keep it moving. They don't care about whether or not it's the genre. They don't care if it's an Afrobeat. They don't know what that is. They don't know what the difference is between Afrobeat and Amapiano. They don't know about the different subgenres that go underneath these particular genres. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? More of a dance hall feel. That's the reason why, Sean Paul was on the remix. She actually has certain songs that are more Afrobeat influence, but she has a lot of soft Amapiano. It's not really like kicking at the rate of your other Amapiano because truth be told, and I think I've said this before to one of my good friends that I gave some songs as far as Afrobeat songs for them to get an idea of what it sounds like. I even told them, like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're not even ready for Amapiano. Like sonically, you can't jump from American music to Amapiano. You got to ease your ear in to get to Amapiano, bro. Because your mind will literally be, there's certain songs, your mind will be like, yo, this is crazy. Like your mind won't be able to really comprehend it. So even with tasting foods, you gotta, if you're tasting spicy foods, you gotta go up a little by little in spices so you can get the higher spice. Okay, you can handle it. So that's just how I look at it. Now WizKid had a song with Brent Faiyaz, "Piece of My Heart," I believe. Arya Starr had a song with Asake. Yeah, also Rema as well. Yeah, and Rema's song was "Baby Is It a Crime." Thames with Asake had "Get It Right." Then you had Asake with Travis Scott with "Active." Burna Boy featuring Travis Scott with "Ta Ta Ta." And then you had the song that was actually a pretty big song. Actually, it became bigger than just a regular Afrobeat song. It's actually like a global kind of dance song. And that's Marley, Silent, Addy, Skillabang, Sincere with "Shake It to the Max." Okay. So that was probably, if I had saw this list before the night happened, I would have probably I probably would have put money that song would have won because "Shake It to the Max" is like a global smash. But after that, I'm gonna be honest with you, the second best song on after this is gonna be probably Push to Start. Okay, because Push to Start did a very good numbers in terms of streaming. Also, the remix helped add more streaming to it and more views on the YouTube. So it's kind of like comes with the overall, message of like pushing forth a song that kind of fits more in the Afrobeat category, you can say. But some of these songs were newly released. I think even Rema's "Is It a Crime" was, man, that was just dropped like a few months ago. A lot of times you need a little bit more traction, a ramp up towards like the awards period where you can get the proper metrics and show commercial success and people having good reviews about your song over the course of a few months. So she won, and some people feel some type of way about her winning in the Afrobeat category. Tyla does do certain songs that are considered Afrobeats. But she does do more she does Amapiano, but it's not like you think because Amapiano, there's different levels of it. So she's kind of like a little bit more of a crossover artist when it comes to Amapiano / Afrobeats because she can kind of go a little bit into R&B. She can go a little bit into dance hall or whatever, right? So we have to understand that this all stuff is almost a distinction without a difference, especially to those in the US because they don't care to know the difference between, what type of music Tyla's doing versus what something like what Thames or Arya Starr is doing. And then of course the other in the genre, the other men, right? In the Afrobeat categories. So it kind of is what it is. So what's next for Tyla? She won another award, which again, a lot of these awards are industry awards. What I mean by that is that they'll give it to the person who has what they feel a little bit more social capital and influence. So, and then they'll propel that award towards other stuff. So the next thing for her, from what I've seen in the interview, is that she's working on an LP. She had an EP, a 4-song EP, We Want a Party. I haven't listened to it because I really don't listen to a lot of music. I just kind of, if something comes across for me, like let's say I'm just chilling, I'm watching YouTube, and I get a video suggestion of a particular artist, like a Tyla, and I might click on it and just listen to what it's like while I'm doing something in the background, right? No big deal. Get introduced to it, see what it's talking about, see what's kind of being promoted. Now, when it comes to her LP, which she appears very confident about, the thing about it is, it's not about whether or not it's going to be a massive success. Because I think people in the United States, especially black people that were against Tyla and some of them that are anti non-black American artists, because yes, there is a movement, but it's not effective. Okay, because if it was so effective, Normani would be a star. Normani was a victim of racism from Camila Cabello, who became a big star. She's like probably a top 10 female artist with massive hits over the last few years. And Normani was a victim in Fifth Harmony. Yet they didn't go out of their way. These black haters of Tyla, they didn't go out of their way to hype up Normani. Okay, they didn't change her number. She should be bigger and more successful than she is now. Chloe Bailey ain't even hitting on nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? So why is that? Because the influence it's not really there. So what is the influence? The influence is going to come from outside of the United States and from the white populace within the United States. That's why Doja Cat, who was in racist chat rooms, degrading black people, okay? That's why she can still make music and be a megastar, okay? Because you can't dim what her shine because you're not her base. Okay? So if you reject Tyla, it's not going to matter because you rejecting Tyla the way it was done is only going to show her that she knows exactly where Americans stand, her publicists, her people know, and she could still move on and go and focus in other areas. Because truth be told, Tyla could have gotten more publicity had she did what a lot of women would do, which is to be seen hanging out, having a 3 to 6 month fling with a big rapper, okay, and then just parlaying that into social capital, okay, social media capital that you can use to promote your album and things like that. But she decided not to do that. Gotta respect that. She easily could have got a song from Drake because Drake DM'd her as soon as she started blowing up, when the water started blowing up. And you already know Drake would hand out the stimulus package like nothing. But she decided to hold back on it and be like, nah, I don't need that. Okay? So I think the LP is going to be good from this standpoint because she has a clear, distinctive ability to make songs that actually hit and stick. And that's what she's going to probably continue doing. And she's also has very good visuals in her music videos. She's not a shy person at all. She also is willing to perform. She's very confident. And that's kind of what I've seen from her is just her level of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Her level of, she believes in herself. She didn't have to go get surgery like some of these other women. She doesn't go pull up like Glorilla. Okay? She is comfortable in her own skin. And not only that, she's very beautiful. And that goes a long way in the music industry because she's always was going to have some kind of hurdle. There was no way no South African artist was going to have like an easy path to success in the United States. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.